How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Richard, which is an author. So Richard, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
The first step was getting the money to being able to open up a business.
That's good step, yeah. Getting the finance, yeah.
Yes, and then the next step was to obtain somebody to help me to pick out the merchandise, because the only thing that I knew about the business that I was opening up was that I had a friend in New York, and I used to play chess with him.
Wow.
And the only thing that I knew about his business, that when he took money out of his pocket, there were always hundreds.
Wow.
And I wanted to have hundreds in my pocket too. So when I had an opportunity to open up this business, the break even in this particular business was $4,000 a month.
Wow.
And my first month I did $2,000. So that wasn't working. And I didn't have a great deal of cash. And the main problem that I was experiencing was to get the newspapers to put out the ads the way I wanted them to do. And at that time, I didn't even know how to read or write English. And I began to put together the ads myself.
Wow.
And on the second month in business, I did $4,000.
Wow, that's brilliant.
And on the third month of business, I did $8,000.
Wow.
And on the fourth one, I did $16,000.
Wow.
And it pretty much stabilized at around $24,000, $25,000 a month.
So Richard, the step 3 would be then do it yourself if things are not working, right? Because that's what you did. Your ads was not working, and you trying to do that, and then you said, you know what, I'll do the ads myself, even if I don't speak English. So the step number 3 would be do it yourself if something is not working, correct?
Yes, or get help to overcome whatever difficulty there is. I have come to realize that I have come from a very practical family on my mother's side. And they were all entrepreneurs, and they all had their own businesses.
Oh, wow.
And the main thing that I learned from watching them is whatever difficulty came up is to deal with it, not as a burden, but just as a task. Yeah. And the most important thing that I did growing in business was just staying in reality, staying with whatever was going on. When I was at work, I wasn't concerned about what my wife was doing, how I was going to become a millionaire, or how come I wasn't driving a Porsche or anything. I put one foot in front of the other, and I took care of the situation.
So step number 4, how would you call it, Richard? Stay focused?
Yes, most definitely. Staying on the present.
Stay on the present, yeah?
Yes, I was not very good at staying in the present in my personal life. Business, I was terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Richard, if you're thinking that you're going to make millions, you're going to think about the Ferrari or whatever, you're going to miss what's the next step for the business. So you have 100% to be focused in the present, yeah? And then what would be the last step that you recommend?
Well,
enjoy it.
Actually, no. Once I started to become successful, one of the things that I should have done is to learn about accounting.
Very good. Very wise advice. I love it.
Once, many years later, when I divorced my wife and I gave all of my businesses to my wife, and it was a choice, I gave it to her. I started to work for a company out of Chicago, and I did management consulting across the country, all the way from Colorado to Florida and Canada. And I used to go to 2 businesses a week. And in all of those times, there has only been one time that I went to a business that was being run by a business person. And when I went to this business, I was expecting to see a depleted business, because I went to see another business 50 miles away from him. And this particular business, the owner was dead, and he just didn't know it, because his assets were $200,000, and his liabilities were $1.4 million.
Wow.
So when I went to see this business not that far away, I told my supervisor, "Oh, please, John, don't do that to me. I went to this place and this guy needed to be buried. He just didn't know it. And it's going to be the same thing." "Well, no, you got to go there." And it was customary for when I went to see these people that they will bring me all of their P&Ls and for me to review them. And the first thing that surprised me, I look at the top line, which is show how much money on hand at the bank, and it showed 1.2 million. I said, what the heck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
How is it that this business 50 miles away was the way it is, and this guy over here, he doesn't know what to do with this money? And I met up with the man, and I began to speak to him, and I said, "Tell me, how is it that you're being so successful in all of the businesses around you? They're going broke." He said, "Well, it's very simple. I have a friend in Dallas who's an accountant. And I taught this accountant about business. And this accountant taught me about accounting."
Oh, wow.
So I knew that when the business started to go down, to get rid of the racehorses and the airplanes, and start laying off people to handle the business that I had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when all of the other business began to go broke, well, I reinstated all of my trucks, and I even need more trucks now.
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason why I was successful as a businessman, it wasn't so much because I knew about business. I was just very good at 2 + 2.
Wow, that's a great advice, Richard. So now let's go deep into this, because not all some entrepreneurs. How do you feel in this first month of your first business, when you wanted to start a business, and you should break even at 4,000 and you make 2,000 and you're short in cash? Tell us how this month looked like.
Well, first of all, I didn't feel anything. I just dealt with the situation.
Absolutely.
It's not.
You don't have time to feel anything. You had to make it work. That's it.
Yeah. The key to any problem is the solution. And if I'm doing the solution, then I don't have a problem. And most people, they allow their problems to become their negative future. So they become fearful. And fear really doesn't exist unless I create it. And that's why I also wrote the book with Jay, Who's in Charge of My Mind, because it tells me that in reality, fear does not exist. Is that I shall start projecting negativity into my future, and it comes from my past, and then my past becomes the present, and then my present becomes my negative future.
Absolutely.
So the key to being a good business person, in my perception, is becoming a balanced human being. And I was not a balanced human being. I used to be an extremist. in just about everything that I did. So I needed to develop balance, and I did.
But what do you mean an extremist in which way? In a way that you approach business, in a way that you approach...
Well, I remember one time that I got my pay stub from this company that I was working for, and I had 40 hours of regular time and 64 hours of overtime.
Wow.
In 1 week.
Wow, Richard.
So I escaped my life in many different ways, whether it was with with work or even with sex. My first wife, there was something that she didn't like about me, and it was my 2 girlfriends.
Where are you originally? Where are you from, Richard?
I was born in Argentina.
Ah, wow. I'm from Cuba. I speak Spanish. We both speak Spanish. So, Richard, tell us a little bit more about your book. Yeah, I want to ask you, show us your book that is just right next to you and the title. Yeah. So, why did you decide to write this book?
Okay. For instance, let me ask you a question. Do you worry?
Not too much.
But
it's not been always the case. When I was young, I was building the business, I was worried all the time by everything. Now, after time passed by, I'm not worried about anything.
So these days you don't worry at all?
A little bit of a few things, but no, don't take it as seriously as I worry now for the health of my mom, for example. I'm here in Spain, and she's not feeling well, and this something that get me worried, for example. Yeah,
Okay.
everybody worry about something, about themselves, about the people that they love, right?
Well, let's assume, Harry, that you worry a little.
Yeah.
Whenever you are worrying this little, did you say to your mind, I'm worried, I'm ready to worry about stuff, give me some stuff? Or did the worry came to you?
Well, it comes to me alone.
Okay, well, if the worry comes to me, that means that I'm not in charge of my mind, does it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. It used to be that I slept only a few hours at night. And not that long ago, my ex-wife was hearing me comment to somebody that I go to sleep in 3 minutes. And she screamed from across the room, and she never usually cusses at all. And she said, BS, he goes to sleep in 3 seconds.
Wow.
And so when sometimes you have gone to sleep and there is something in your mind that doesn't let you go, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, you're not in charge of your mind either. So being in charge of my mind is me being able to let go of things without getting a hold of me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so, absolutely. Tell me about it.
So basically, who's in charge of my mind is all of the crap that I have accumulated throughout my entire life.
100%.
They used to call me and grab my butt and ruin my life. And because later on, when I was very successful and I drove a brand new Porsche 928, when I bought it, do you know for how long I enjoyed it? 20 seconds. Because wow. I was always into more. And more is never enough. So.
Wow, that's amazing story, Richard. Yeah. It's strange how our mind works, right?
Yes. And at my peak in the 80s, I used to do over $300,000 a month. Wow. with five stores. And I will tell you that I was the best salesperson but I never sold.
Wow.
I had someone who was a salesman and he sold. And 1 out of 5 sales, there will be problems. And with
Wow.
mine, there was hardly ever one because I didn't sell people. I found out what they wanted. I should have done that with the knowledge that I have about the product. I didn't sell people with my knowledge of people. I sold people with my knowledge of the product that they were wanting.
But then, Richard, you know, when you start in the business, yeah, and nobody knows you, yeah, and then you have negative cash flow in the first month, and you're trying to solve this problem, a lot of pressure comes. You know, nobody knows you. People don't want to buy your stuff, and you know, and a lot of negative emotion goes to your brand, exactly like you said, that got accumulating throughout the life of the entrepreneur. Because I can, like you said, that you were in an extreme. That means that you really worked so hard and you went so deep into the business that when you open your eyes, you already have 5 stores, yeah, and turning over 300,000 a month. But a lot of pressure, setbacks, problem solving, more new, the expansion. You know, a lot of people think that when you have one store and you expand to another one, the problem is double. It doesn't double, because it's the problem of this store plus the problem of the other store plus the problem of these 2 stores combined. Yeah, I find out that when I expand my business, that the problem just don't duplicate. Yeah, so there you go, Richard. And then all this negative emotion, all this negative baggage, all this setback, it doesn't matter. You were solving the problem, going ahead. And now here you are, turning over 300,000 a month, 5 stores. You can afford your Porsche, and you are working in unstoppable, but now you want more. And the Porsche is not enough. And what happened? You want to keep working more, because if you work more, how many more hours can you work? How much faster can you expand? What is more? So what really was sometimes, you know, when you're young, yeah, it's a lack of experience. Sometimes I always talk about the millionaire mindset, yeah, which is completely different that or the millionaire lifestyle, yeah. And a lot of people think that to live like a millionaire or to design your own millionaire lifestyle, you need to have millions in your bank account. And with time, I realized that there are more things way more important that have the millions in your bank account, which is number one, time to do whatever you love. Like, for example, this conversation that we have right now, I'm so blessed that I have this time that I can spend with you. And this is something that I love and give me fulfillment, give me something more that actually have this gazillion money in the bank account. That when you make, like you said, the Porsche, when I made my first million, it didn't last nothing. I was making the big deal all my life. I want to make a million, want to make a million, want to make a million. And once I made it, it doesn't last to one day. That the second day, I'm like, okay, back to work. You know, I was thinking, what was the big deal about it? I think I don't even notice. My accountant told me after, you know what I mean? So sometimes we put in our head what we really, but we don't really want. We don't really know what we want. We think that, okay, having a million is going to make us happy. Now you make the million, now you're not happy. You're running a big operation, have a lot of things, you have a lot of responsibility, and you start to think yourself, what do you really want, right? So tell me, Richard, what happened? How do you find out when do you really, what do you really want? When your wife left?
No, actually, the two. Okay, I have been divorced twice, but have only got married once. Okay, and I'm the one who decided to leave. The first one because I recognized that she was a very good woman and I was not a very good man. That's why I divorced her, and I left with practically nothing. And the second one, she liked proximity, but she didn't like being in having a close relation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I will tell you the key to me learning how to be successful is when life practically killed me. When I was 37 years old, I encountered a situation that I could not dominate, because prior to that time, I was able to dominate almost anything with my mind.
Absolutely.
Business. And it was almost like an emotional breakdown. And I fell down to my knees and I said, God, please help me. And that help came to me. And I began to realize that I had met up with the most ignorant human being in the world, and it was me. And I began to grow.
Wow, that's amazing. Very deep, Richard.
And the key to being successful for me is not about me having more, which I see more. The key for me is to enjoy what I have.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Very profound, but very true. And be grateful for what you have.
Yeah, it used to be that I lived chasing my butt. And this is what I mean when I said that I was chasing my butt. Everything that was taking place in my life was determining what I was going to do. It was like playing whack-a-mole with my life. And then I realized that I was supposed to be managing those things instead of those things with no feelings, no nothing. Those things were destroying me.
So, Richard, do you think that emotional breakdown was accumulation of all the pressure from the business accumulated from the years, plus personal life situation that all came together and you couldn't handle it anymore?
It really had nothing to do with the business. It was with my emotional misunderstandings while I was growing up. I had a couple of little secrets that I needed to deal with.
And without going to details, Richard, I think that sometimes, there are things happen in the past, right? Whatever it is that, could be argument with your dad, argument with your mom, could be a teacher, could be something. And this is in the back of your head, and it's running, it's running the way that you behave. Yes. And you become like a machine that maybe somebody told you, you're useless, you are not good for nothing. Could be maybe a neighbor. And now you make it mean that, okay, I'm gonna prove this person that that I'm not useless. And now this computer start to run Richard, and now Richard, more is not enough. And 3 stores is not enough, and 5 stores is not enough, and the Porsche is not enough, because there is someone in the past that told you something, and you make it, you beat the story, make it mean something, and now that's it. That day, Richard, you die. The day that that person did that to you, that's the original Richard died, and the new Richard appeared, which is operated by the computer. By that trigger, and this is not you. You are running your life for as like a computer, like to prove to whatever that to prove something or to overcome something or whatever. Until one day that you cannot take it anymore, because at the end of the day, this is not you. And sometimes, Richard, the worst day of your life become the best day of your life, because probably this emotional breakdown, the computerized Richard disappear, and now a new Richard come, very smiley, very calm. I love your book, and you having very peaceful conversation with me, and you see everything is fine, and you don't need to prove anything to anybody. How about that?
By the way, Harry, I was born at the age of 37.
There you go.
Okay.
And that day, that emotional breakdown, correct?
And on the book, Who's in Charge of My Mind, I describe not my life story, but the way that I develop, the process of evolvement that I have gone through. And so does Jay on it also, to some degree. The key
we all have that, Richard. Yeah? Don't feel that you're the only one. Everyone somehow have this thing that happened to them that changed their life completely, and that they literally die and a computer start to run their life until an emotional breakdown happen, until you lose of your money in business, which have, until you have a wake-up call, until your health take a hit. Yeah. And it's actually more common than what you think.
I have come to know that nothing bad has ever happened in my life. Not the two rapes that I went through, nor my father leaving, or not really having much of a family. And the reason that nothing bad has ever happened in my life is because everything that has occurred has brought me to where I am today.
Exactly. And build who you are.
And have been for decades, and it happens to be wonderful. So nothing bad has ever happened in my life.
Yeah, exactly. So we had to take, and the first thing, Richard, to start to heal ourselves, yeah, is about taking responsibility. Yeah. Like, for example, my parents, they both are teachers. Yeah. They told me, go to university, study a lot, and you're going to do well on life. Yeah. So I have to way of look at things. Yeah. I said, okay, they did it for they didn't know any better. So they told me, go to school and study and go to university. I went to university, I got a degree in chemical engineer, and I have this paper that make my mom and dad happy, and that's it. I never use this, never again in my whole life. You see, it didn't work. I finished the university, and then I went to live to Spain. The university degree that I studied, the degree was there was no equal in Spain. I had to go to university again. I end up doing software for computer. We have nothing to do with chemical engineering, but that was they were paying the money. Anyway, the whole point is that your parents, your surrounding, they behave the best they can because they love you, right? Or otherwise, even if your father left or whatever, there are the healing starts when you assume, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take responsibility and I'm not gonna build story. Yeah. My dad left. Okay, fine. That's what happened. One thing is what happened. Completely different book game is the story that we make out of what happened. Yeah. Because our brain starts to build story and a story and a story and a story about what happened, that actually I know people that they haven't speak with the parents, with the dad for 20 years, and they don't even know why they argue in the first place. Because the story comes to the story, come to the story, come to the story. And this is, like I said, when you're not charged on your brain, when you're not charged on your mind, it's a very, especially if you're in business, I know people that make million, lost it, make million, lost it, make million, lost it. And clearly, they had to work on themselves. There is something going on there that they're auto-sabotage themselves after they achieve the success, and have nothing to do with their skills as an entrepreneur. Is something back from childhood, something back operating in the background. Until they don't work on themselves and they don't free for whatever it is, they're gonna be living in that life which is a rat race, and they will never gonna find peace. But not too many people rich have the courage to say, you know what, I need help. I have to work on myself. I'm making the money, yeah, But if you're making the money and you're not looking after your health, if you're not looking after your relationships, you're not looking in the more holistic way, you don't have control of your mind, so you're at peace. It doesn't matter that you making a lot of money. Like I said, people can have emotional breakdown. People can have, you know, a your health can take a hit. And trust me, everyone that I know, all the millionaires that I know, they will change all the money for one more day of life. Yeah. So now let's talk about the new Richard that was born when he was 37 years old. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about this new Richard, right? It's a new Richard that he knows that the past is not the future. Yeah. That you said something very important, which is living in the present. Yeah. I think that we, as a human beings, we have a huge problem living in the present. We either are in the future or in the past.
Right.
Whether living in the present and being present, like for example, we have a conversation now that we both are present. We are not, I'm not talking to you thinking, oh, what's gonna happen next, or what happened there, or what happened to me in the past. We are present in this moment. So what do you think, Richard, that entrepreneurs, specifically entrepreneurs, you've been in business, so you know what I'm talking about. Why is it so hard for entrepreneurs to be in the present, which is exactly what they need to grow the company? And so what do you think is the main reason that they are never in the present?
Even though at the time in which this occurred at the age of 37, I was very successful, there was also one other fact that had taken place in my life, because being that I have become so successful, I have learned to work very little and manage a lot of people.
Wow, amazing.
And in the process, without knowing it, I have become very negative because all of the stuff from my past had not been dealt with. So the first thing that was evident to me, that I had tremendous negative thoughts running through my head all the time. And I needed to do something with them, because I have never met a happy person that was negative. Have you?
No, absolutely. And then Richard, negative people attract negative people. Now you have negative people in your work, as your team, as your employees. You know, you attract how you behave. Yeah. And I think, Richard, this negativity come from angry. You were angry about something.
Well, whether one is negative or angry, they both mean the same thing. It's two opposites of the same, because when I'm angry or when I'm into self-pity, there's one thing that they have in common. I'm not getting what I want.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. I have never met a depressed person that has told me, well, I'm very glad with my life. Everything is going well. I have the perfect wife, the perfect business, and everything is perfect, but I am depressed. I never heard that.
Absolutely.
Whenever a depressed person is speaking in terms of what they're lacking, what they would like to have. The biggest problem with that is, a certain time I began to believe that I knew what I wanted, but in the reality, I had learned to not knowing what I wanted and complain about everything that I was getting.
You don't even know what you want, yeah?
Yeah, and I couldn't know what I wanted because all I knew it was about what I didn't want. So if I want to become happy with what I want, I need to establish what that is.
So how do you become so humble that realize, you know what? I had to work on myself. I need help, because there in US, turning over 300,000 a month with so many employees, your ego, you are the king of the world over there. You're driving a Porsche. And so when did you arrive to the conclusion that, wow, I actually need help? That is something that I had to work on myself, and I need that somebody help me with this. So when do you surrender that ego, Richard, and realize that you have to work on yourself in order to move forward?
Actually, I have not surrendered my ego. My ego is quite well rounded. The only time that I have problem with ego is when I'm being egotistical or when I'm being egoless. But having my ego in proper place or having my pride in proper place, there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
If I don't take pride on the work that I do, what am I doing it for? So the key for me was to ask for help. If you were to ask me what is the most important thing that I've done in my life, is for the first time at the age of 37 say to someone, help.
Wow, that's amazing. It's very profound.
And began to be guided.
Yeah.
And realization that even though I was a very intelligent person, nevertheless I was extremely ignorant.
Yeah. At the end, look, Richard, there are things that you don't know. Yeah. And there are things that you don't know that you don't know. Yeah. For example, you are clear that you don't know about, I don't know, this material that TV is made. Yeah. Now, the third element is when you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. It's this blank spot, something that you don't have no even idea that existed, right? And when you have the courage, because I need to call it like this, courage to ask for help, yeah, because it happened to me as well, yeah. I was in one point of my business, I was angry with everyone, yeah, and I was exhausted, I was tired, and but at some point I said, look, I cannot go in like this anymore. I have to work on myself. So I need help on this. I don't know why I'm so angry, but I'm very angry. So I had to work on myself and find what is the source of this. So at the end of the day, yeah, that help actually you feel in a way that you remember. But a lot of people, yeah, and majority of entrepreneurs, they will never ask for help for anything. And now you find them after long time in business that they are tired, they are exhausted, they can have a heart attack, or all this emotion, negative emotion, and all this anger have been there all the life, and it's showing up in the life everywhere, even in the business, but also in the relationship with the wife, in the relationship with the children, in the relationship around that. And like I said, it's a little computer operating you for something that happened when you were very little, that you don't even know that, and why you making me know about it. Yeah. So tell us about this process. You asked for help, and then the new Richard was born, right?
Well, I asked for help because the one thing that I didn't know about was how to live life. I didn't know how to be peaceful, serene, joyful.
Grateful.
I didn't know how to be balanced or enthusiastic. I'll tell you one of the first prayers that I said for a year and a half. And that prayer was, God, please teach me how to smile. That was my first prayer. And I said that for a year and a half.
Wow, that's amazing.
Until I learned the key. And I was listening to somebody. And I heard him say this for at least 15, 20 times. And he said, how are you going to believe that you got something that you ain't got? Well, you got to know that every precious gift has been given at the foundation of the earth. And it's the Father's good pleasure to give you his kingdom. At that moment, I had the realization that I wasn't waiting for God to teach me how to smile. God was waiting for me to start smiling.
Embrace it, yeah.
That's when my prayer went from, God, please teach me how to smile, to, God, thank you for having taught me to smile.
And Richard, I believe that all the entrepreneurs we go through to a tough moment in our life, and we want all the entrepreneurs to be wealthy, to be healthy, and to be happy. Yeah. So, what advice do you have for the entrepreneurs out there that they are suffering, that they are making good money or not, they're running this business, but they haven't understood yet that the biggest piece of all that is to work on yourself. And knowing what you knew now, Richard, if you had to start your business all over again, I bet that you will bring a lot of happiness to your employees, a lot of happiness to your clients, a lot of happiness. Yeah, maybe this business could be rather than 300,000 a month, could be 3 million a month. Yeah. So, what advice do you have for the entrepreneurs out there that that things are not working, and they are angry, they don't know why, and this is showing up everywhere in their life, and they are trapped to make this business work, and they haven't realized that they have to work on themselves daily in order to operate a business at the highest performance and create the best for the company. What advice do you have for them?
Well, the way that I know when I need to work on something is this way. Do you happen to know the definition of the word understanding?
No, go for it.
It comes from the Greek language, and in its full meaning, it means to stand safely under the tree. What does that mean? What that means is whenever I have a difficulty, is because I don't have an understanding, because otherwise I will be safe. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't mean that when I understand something, that I'm going to be happy with it. I understand certain things that don't make me happy, but they don't bother me either. Mm-hmm. To understand then is to stand safely without my emotions being altered by whatever it is. So whenever I'm disturbed, that means I have a misunderstanding. And if I have a misunderstanding, being that I have the misunderstanding, I don't have the solution. Mm-hmm. So I find someone else that has the solution. Because you see, I drive a Mercedes. When it doesn't run right, I take it to the Mercedes mechanic. I don't take it to the Fiat mechanic.
Absolutely.
When I have a difficulty with my business, I go to an accountant and try to determine what it is that needs to be corrected. Like I have 5 stores, and every store was in its own separate business. And wow. I knew exactly when it was not doing well and what I needed to correct.
Wow, and that's amazing.
But I didn't do it because I knew about business then. I just knew about 2 plus 2. I made sure that the 2 plus 2 in each location was coming out the way it was supposed to come out. So the deal about having a pleasant life and a joyful life is to learn from someone that has it. Because if I had it, I wouldn't be complaining about it.
Absolutely.
So the problem is never the problem. The problem is always the solution. So if I don't have a solution, how can I deal with the problem? And that's why the best thing that I did in my life at the age of 37 is when I went to these people and I said, I was coming over here to tell you how to fix this other person, but I realized that I need help. Would you help me, please?
Wow.
And I began to meet up with the most ignorant human being that I never knew, and it was me.
And this, Richard, is very, very humble from you, and I hope that the entrepreneurs listening to this show take this very seriously, and that's why, Richard, I decided to spend a lot of time in this topic. We can be talking about how to make millions, how to grow business, how to do that, but I think that what we spoke today is really more profound and more powerful for the entrepreneurs out there, because it's not about to make $1 million. It's about for you to be happy and for you to enjoy every moment when you build in the business. And I know that it's hard, especially in the first 2 years, that you have to wear the hats and do everything. But we'll be only 2-3 years after things turn around. However, if you're not grateful for what you have, if you haven't done your work internally in yourself, I know people that have 20 million, you can have 20 million in the bank account and then die from a heart attack because of so much stress and so much. The other day I interviewed an entrepreneur here in this very same podcast, and the guy have 3 businesses turning over $1 million each, and the guy was vomiting blood for so much stress and so much. He told me, Harry, you know, that day I'm vomiting blood, I said, okay, I'm running this business. This business is not running me. And he took off to Thailand for a year and a half. And when he come back, now, you know, he still had the 3 business, still, but it's still, you know, everything operating fine. But, you know, now he find himself. He discovered that he had to work on himself, that he doesn't need to be in control of everything, and he had to let go whatever was operating him that was making him to behave this way, because the business, Richard, can literally kill you, you know, especially if you have too much employees or too much clients.
The business cannot kill me. Is what I do. The business that can kill me.
Exactly.
The business does not have a mind. The business does not have a soul. Does not think. It just does whatever I tell it.
Whatever you decide to do with it, right?
The business is actually like almost like a dead entity. And that's why when I spoke earlier that my problem used to be that I used to chase my butt because things were running my life. And then I learned that I was supposed to be running things instead of things running me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At the end of the day, yeah, this business is not running you. You are running this business, and whatever the work you have to do in yourself to switch that approach, yeah, is
the key for me to develop is to find someone who is developed, so I don't start from step 0.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
this is how successful people behave.
Yeah, we're a little too old for kindergarten.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Richard. And all the people that I meet, the successful people like you, right? They recognize when they have a problem to find someone that have achieved the result to help them out, right? So on the other hand, you have entrepreneurs trying to make the business work, and they don't want help from anyone. They don't want to hear from people with experience. They want to all figure out themselves, and they're tired, they're exhausted, they're getting angry, and things are not working. Yeah. So it's a big difference how successful people behave and ask for help and trying to find a mentor and understand, you know, that they're not perfect and they need help. And there is the other, like we were talking before, that the egocentric entrepreneur, that he thinks he knows all and he's running everything, and I don't tell me what to do, I know how to do everything, and then they're exhausted, they're tired, and things are not working. Yeah. So Richard, show us your book once again and tell us when can we get this book. I like the cover, by the way. Super cool. Put a little bit higher. Who is in charge of my mind? And we can find the book where, in Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Richard, have been a pleasure to be in this broadcast with you. This is amazing. I think that we touched a point really, really powerful today, which is what do we really want when we are an entrepreneur? What is going to keep us happy? What is going to give us fulfillment? For example, Richard, the fact that you wrote this book so other people can benefit for what you experience, maybe, you know, I know the feeling because I experienced myself. the level of fulfillment that you will find when people read this book and say, wow, Richard, what you shared was very powerful. I also have this issue, and I work on myself, and now I'm happy and I'm in peace, because when this machine start to run in you, Richard, you find finally peace in your life. You surrender that. You say whatever it was created, that behavior, you forgive. That's important as well. You forgive, you let go, and then you are in peace. And sometimes don't even do it for the other person, do it for you. You understand? Like sometimes, so I understand when somebody steal money from you or whatever, you're gonna feel angry, you're gonna feel frustrated. But you know what? If you cannot cash him, you have two choices. You're gonna be angry all the way, or you're gonna let it go. Because at the end of the day, if you need money, you can do a little bit of business, you make this money back, but you are in peace and happy, right?
Do you know how I do it, Harry?
Tell me.
I haven't forgiven anyone.
Oh, wow.
Not even me. You want to know why?
Tell me.
Because I go along with God's unconditional forgiveness. And
wow.
If I go along with God's unconditional forgiveness,
oh, that's very powerful.
Then I don't have to be concerned the next time that you mess me up and kick me off.
Wow, that's really powerful.
Because see, if I was to be doing forgiveness, I will forgive you until the next time that you mess me up, and then I'll hate you all over.
Exactly. And then
I don't forgive anyone, not even myself. I just go along with God's unconditional forgiveness. And by the way, do you know the definition of the word happiness?
No, tell me.
A heavenly state.
Heavenly state. Yeah. Wow. That's very powerful. Richard, thank you so much. Yeah, you do know what you're talking about. I love this conversation. I learned about understanding. Thank you so much for teaching me something really powerful. Yeah, if you look deep in what you explain, it's amazing. How we behave and how things and how we operate just because we understand or we don't understand. That was really, really powerful. So thank you so much. Yeah. And for all of you entrepreneurs, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable. How brave entrepreneurs like Richard break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.